he has the bunny. He has this bunny mask on. He then walks out, but now he too is claymation. And right before he gets on a bike and he starts pedaling away, but he stops, and then he starts doing that jamona. He starts doing all the jamona chat and all the dance moves. And they're like, hee. And they're like, that's fucking Michael Jackson. Get him.
Moonwalker. It's written in the stars.
But now, chap, before we go ahead and move on to the rest of the stream, we got to do those reviews, Chad. That's what's next on my docket. We'll talk about those claymation people, Luke the Boss. Fucking creepy and weird. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. And speaking of those claymation people, chap, oh, my Lord. I am going to be reviewing Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, directed by a number of people, specifically Jerry Kramer, who has no other list of credits, chat. I looked this up on the Wikipedia. You know, because I'm like, I don't know Michael Jackson Moonwalker. I know The Wiz, which is it's been described as Michael Jackson's Wizard of Oz. It's also been described as the quote-unquote Black Wizard of Oz, chat. I actually have only seen a couple of clips. I've never actually watched that movie. This came out after The Wiz, chat. Michael Jackson, of course, you know, the king of pop star, chat. A man of controversy, as we all know. We'll get into all that in just a bit. He did always wanted to jump into films. He did want to be an actor. It just kind of never happened for him. But this was a film that he was a part of and he was a producer on, and he was very excited about. This is, I think, originally a part of his Bad tour. His first tour, which he did by himself, Chad, where he didn't have another act with him. It was just him by himself. And it was supposed to release during this tour, but I guess there were production issues, and so it didn't come out until much later on at the end of his Bad tour, Chad, when he released his Bad album. And it was released to mixed critical reviews, not negative, but certainly mixed. People who love the music, love the music videos in the film. They said that it was just, well, fucking weird. And it was a small commercial success, chat. I had a budget about $22 million. It made $67 million worldwide. So it, made its money back and then some, about 3 times its budget, of course, right there. But you probably would expect more for the king of pop, chat. But I just think the reason why this movie probably didn't particularly do all that well is because it's really fucking weird. But before I go ahead and start talking about this movie, I need to ask you a very important question. That question being, how many of you have seen Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Chad? And you have to specify Michael Jackson Moonwalker because there's actually another movie called Moonwalker starring Ron Perlman, which I have not seen, Chad, but I'm very curious about this. What about you? Peculiar Walmart says, grew up on it. There we go. I seen a clip on YouTube where MJ turned the robot. He does do that. And more. He's the fucking Transformer, Chad. Melanie Nelson going to see. I did. Peculiar Walmart says, it. Yes. You've seen it. Gotcha. Late weirder than Captain EO? Yes. Here's my original uncle showed me and my sisters this a few years ago, and man, this is a really bizarre movie. It is indeed. He just says it's really weird because he says, nope, good. I shall tell you the tale, Casfay. Hellenberger, I've seen the Nostalgia Critic review. I think that's enough. Oh, I didn't know he did a review for this. Interesting. I loved it growing up. I haven't seen the Perlman one. Saw the OG Jackson. I saw it on TV. Cristando, ever seen it? Never seen it. Peculiar Walmart, no, it's not weirder than Captain EO. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. If you're not seeing Moonwalker, but I've always wanted to play the game for Genesis Arcade. Yes, nothing is weirder than that. Batboy, I've only seen parts of Moonwalker. The only part I remember is the claymation by Will Vuitton. Cover Reason fame. Yep, that's the same. Yep, exactly. That's the same animator. He is a new addition. I agree. The least you could say is Michael Jackson was a bizarre individual. I agree. He was eccentric. He was to see it several times and only remember the videos, and I think spiders do play a role. You were not wrong. There's some surprises, Shaq. Okay, so, I just provide you with some facts in regards to the movie, how it's what it was. It's an anthology film, chat. It features music videos. It features some individual stories within it. But it is definitely a bizarre film. I had not seen this before. I'd only watched this recently, and Speaking of Michael Jackson, simply as an entertainer and as a composer of music and as a singer, incredibly talented. I mean, everyone. I like a lot of his music. I mean, Smooth, Criminal, and Bad, and Thriller, of course. Like, I'm ignorant when it comes to music, but I know my Michael Jackson. Party all the time, party all the time. I know my Michael Jackson, chat. But personal life, weird, controversial. It may be gross. I don't know. There's so many conflicting stories about this man's personal life. Emily and the woman who was responsible for me reviewing this film today. Thank you, Emily. Clap for yourself. Let's get some Mr. Evan Yates, Mr. Evan Hypes for Emily in the chat right now. It's because of her I am reviewing this film tonight, chat, and I'm excited about it. But so, yeah, Michael Jackson's personal life, I mean, I don't even know. There's so many conflicting stories about him, chat. But I will say, just as a singer, as an entertainer, massively talented, chat. The weird ones are always massively talented. That seems to be the case. And this movie, I will say, like, listen, a lot of the music video sections, very entertaining. They're great. The choreography, the singing, the ideas behind them, all kind of weird. They stand out in your mind, there's no doubt. The more narrative-centric ones, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening in this movie? That's all I can say, chat. Like, it's weird. It's very, very weird, chat. But hey, as it kept going, I'm like, I'm gonna still give this a chance, chat. But I have to admit, I'm like, okay, what why did that happen? It feels like Michael Jackson's, like, if I describe this film, it's Michael Jackson's imagination gone wild, and he just paid the fucking bill for this movie and said, make my imagination real. Put it into corporeal form. And that is Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. That's the only way I could properly describe this, chat, because there's weird shit in here that happens for no reason. There's no explanation for it. You just go along with it. Just let it wash over you, chat. Just sit back, relax, and be prepared to watch some weird shit. We get robot transformers. We get 1940s criminals in like pinstripe suits. We get a murderous Joe Pesci who is appropriating Japanese culture. All of that shit is in this movie, chat, and I just let it wash over me because that's the only thing I can do. I couldn't complain. I couldn't praise it. I just had to let it go. I just had to just say, all right, this is the way it is, chat. But now, my friends, let's go ahead and start with the beginning of the movie, chat. We start with the moonwalk, which, of course, is the amazing physical move where Michael Jackson appears to be walking forward, but he's walking backwards, chat. And I will say, it's fucking slick. It's a good move. Has all the men, has all the women feeling something weird in their nether regions, chat. It just gets you horny. It just gets you feeling crazy. It's an amazing thing to see. You've had these people try to repeat it, but something about the way Michael Jackson does it, it's absolutely incredible, chat. And not only is he performing the moonwalk in the beginning of the movie, chat, but he has magic sparkling shoes that shoot out like laser beams and yellow sparkles. This is the beginning of the movie. And he shoot out yellow sparkles, and it's all in black. And then we transition, chat, and we are now seeing archive footage of Michael Jackson's, one of his concerts, chat, where he's performing Man in the Mirror. He's performing Man in the Mirror, chat, which is a very good song. And he's killing it on stage. He's got the band behind him, everything. He's got his backup dancers. They're killing it. And we see just a crowd of dirty, horny, poor people just fainting, just lusting after Michael Jackson. Now, Chad, this is like late 80s Michael Jackson. And so he's a little bit lighter in terms of skin tone. His nose, definitely got a lot of surgery on his nose at this point. It's not to the degree where it was like in the late 90s and 2000s, chat, where he looked like a fucking skeleton, man. But it definitely looked like he had a lot of surgery. It did not look natural. But he was still a sex icon. People still really liked him, Chad, and they were lusting after him. And he's doing the Man in the Mirror, and he's killing it. And all of these horny, girls, men of various colors, Chad. Doesn't matter if you're white. Doesn't matter if you're black. Doesn't matter if you're Asian or Hispanic or Latino or anything else in between, chat. You love Michael Jackson. They're like, oh my fucking God. And that's all it is. It's concert footage for like the first 7-10 minutes, and then we transition, and we then get this Michael Jackson kind of like, oh, this is his wardrobe room, where the camera pans to all of his various shit that he's worn in his life, chat, like all the sequin shirts and the glove and certain other items, chat. And then we cut to these various televisions, which are all kind of look like it looks like Michael Jackson just fucking kicked into the door of Pee-wee's Playhouse and just beat the shit out of Paul Rubens and started stealing all of his things. That's the only thing I can think of, chat, where he steals Pee-wee's television set, good old Telly, steals Couchy, and Pee-wee's like, don't do it. He's like, shut up, and he slaps him, and he takes all that, and he takes it back to his wardrobe room, and then we watch Michael Jackson's life play on these various TV sets, chat, and where we see him like when he was a young man, chat, part of the Jackson 5, when his father was forcing him and his brothers and sisters to perform at strip clubs and these clubs and you know, having to endure all these beatings. During this biographical segment, we have these rats, like literal living rats. It's both living rats, like actual rats, and animatronic rats and clay motion, stop motion rats watching a young Michael Jackson. I don't know if the rats are representative of like Michael Jackson's life. Are they his father? Are the rats, because I looked at my father. Did Michael Jackson look at his father as a rat fuck? And he's like, he's always watching me? Maybe. I don't know. But then the rats then become robots. They become robots, and they watch Michael Jackson as he becomes older, chat, becomes the pop sensation that he is, chat, that he is. And then there's a giant black man, and a giant black man appears, chat. There's a giant black man that appears, and this giant black man has like these yellow sparks that come out of him, and they cover all of these children. All of these yellow sparkles are given to children, chat, and they are imbued with the power of Michael Jackson, I think. And then it transitions to a parody video of Michael Jackson being played by little kids. And it's like, it's the Bad Music video, chat, that famous one, you know, where they're in the subway and that guy accosts Michael Jackson, all his friends and stuff. Except this time, Michael Jackson is being played by, you probably don't recognize the name, but I'm like, I know this kid. I've seen this kid before. It's Brandon Quinton Adams, chat. And he was as he's typically known, he's the black kid in Sandlot, in the Sandlot movie, which is a wonderful film if you've not seen it. And he's also the lead actor in the super underrated Wes Craven film, The People Under the Stairs, which is actually getting a remake, chat, from Jordan Peele's company, Monkey Paw Productions, which we're going to see how that goes. You know, Jordan Peele, I love Get Out. I wasn't a big fan of Us, really. I mean, I liked, the technical aspects of the film. Didn't really like the story all that much. I was not a fan of his Twilight Zone, nor was I a fan of Candyman. So I'm hoping the best for that remake, chat, because that original Wes Craven movie was really ahead of its time, was underappreciated, and it's actually quite good. If you have not seen it, I recommend it. I got to do an audio video commentary for it, chat, because it's a really weird movie. But little Brandon Quinton Adams plays like a little Michael Jackson, and then all the other characters in the music video are also played by kids. And the people who are accosting and intimidating Michael and his friends are a little bit older. They look to be maybe preteens, maybe even teenagers, certainly very young teenagers, chat. And, you know, they come up to Michael, and little Michael, he starts doing it's the music video. It's just with children this time. And maybe it's representative of how Michael sees himself or the loss of his childhood through his art. And his art is his childhood shit. It's how he's able to live his life. I don't fucking know. But all these kids start dancing, and they're lip syncing because it's Michael's. For the most part, most of the song, it's Michael Jackson singing bad. And it's not until the end of the song that the kids actually start singing themselves. It's like, go back to Michael Jackson because these kids can't sing for shit. I did notice in this particular music video, there's this one kid to the left of Brandon Quinton Adams who can't dance at one point, and he's like seems to not know what he's doing. And I noticed as the rest of the video went along, he's not there anymore. So I just imagine they just said, get your ass out of there, and they fired him, and they kept filming, chat, because it's a kid in a wife beater shirt. Go back and look at this movie, chat. There's a kid in a wife beater shirt right next to little Michael, played by Brandon Quinton Adams, in the beginning, and he's not there for the rest of the music video. And so that just really stuck out to me. After they performed the song, they're all like, yeah. And the bullies were like, wow, you can sing really good. We will no longer try to accost and intimidate you. And they leave. But then the one bully takes off this stuck out to me. This one bully, who's not the main bully, this one bully, he's one of the two that back up the other guy. He takes off his hat, and underneath his hat is another hat. I thought that's interesting. And then they walk away, and they all start laughing. After that scene, chat, little Michael Jackson, played by Brandon Quinton Adams, then goes, he leaves the, I guess the subway, and then he has, like, teenage bodyguards, and they're escorting him to this movie studio. And little Michael Jackson is inquiring about Bubbles, the ape, the bubble, like the Bubbles. And he's like, bring Bubbles to my trailer. I wish to have a meeting with him. We need to discuss a new movie. And they're like, right away, sir. It's like, so Bubbles, there you go, Chad. I'm glad they mentioned Bubbles. And then he's also said, I would like a banana cream pie. And the bodyguard's like, well, Michael, they actually don't serve banana cream pie. And Michael requests is like, could they make me one? And the bodyguard says, right away, sir. And so I assume he's going to get his banana cream pie. We then transition to a movie studio lot. I felt like it was Warner Brothers. They didn't say it was, but it's just like, I don't know. I just got a sense it was the Warner Brothers lot. Since the Warner Brothers lot is incorporated into like a lot of animated projects like Looney Tunes and Animaniacs and Tiny Toons, etc. It just felt like that way. And Michael's walking, and we see this tour bus of a whole bunch of animated clay people, and they all look fucking horrific, chat. They're all abominations. And as the tour guide is just doing these really bad tour guide jokes, like as you would expect, these claymation abomination people spot Michael, who goes, and then we come back to the claymation people because they're taking pictures, and then we cut back to little Brandon Quinton Adams, but he's not little Brandon Quinton Adams anymore, chat. He has now become the adult Michael Jackson. So I don't know if this scene is representative of the press, like he was his childhood was stripped from him because of the constant attention that I don't fucking know. But at this point, he's like, I got to get the fuck out of here. The problem is these claymation people are rabid. They don't give a shit. And they leave. They're like in these kind of like golf carts, like those little kind of golf cart tours. And they leave the golf carts and they attack Michael Jackson's posse, where all the little kids also grew up with him. The problem is, though, Michael started running, and the kids didn't. We're now adults now. And they were all run over by the hideous claymation people, and they are killed. They're flattened, chat, in typical Looney Tunes fashion. But as we know, this is not a cartoon, and they're just dead. Michael runs all around the studio, and at one point he goes around a corner, and he hides behind the Statue of Liberty. Like a kind of like a life, not like, I guess it's like a human sized, like, it's about 6 feet tall Statue of Liberty. He hides behind it as all these weird claymation people keep running the opposite direction. And the Statue of Liberty comes alive and says, the home of the weird, ain't it? And he goes, yeah. And then she transforms back into like a statue. It's like, okay, but chat, the fatties, there are these two fatties, chat. These two grotesque fatties who are riding these little scooters who spot Michael, and they're like, Michael, we're your biggest fans. And Michael's like, no, get away from me. No, you're ignorant. And he's like, Michael, I don't have a piece of paper, but you can sign my belly. Like they lift up their shirts, and their belly is just filled with like zits and like weird, gross stuff. And Michael's like, ew, that's gross, that's ignorant. And this like, what, you don't have a pen? Hee, get him. And they chase after him, Chad. And they also call the rest of the hideous claymation people. And they chase after Michael. Michael then takes refuge inside of oh no, not yet. Actually, when he's running away, he runs into a set that's being used by a filmmaker, and it's like a cowboy set for like a Western. And right before they're like about to have like a shootout, he interrupts. He goes, I'm sorry, I'm just running away from these claymation people. And they're like, God damn it, you varmint. They want to call him something else, but they did not. You varmint, you're interrupting my scene. And the director, who's also claymation, is like, what the fuck? I can't handle this. I told everyone that I have to have a close set, and the director turns into a dragon. And nothing, like the dragon doesn't attack Michael. It doesn't eat anybody. He just turns into a dragon. And that's it. Michael then continues to run because he's still being pursued by the claymation fatties and the press, and also now the cowboys who want to kill him. And he then hides in a prop room. He hides in a prop room. They know he's in the prop room. They're trying to break down the door. But then Michael's like, oh my God, they're so ignorant. And he needs disguise. And he spots basically a Bugs Bunny costume, and he puts it's basically just the head of Bugs Bunny. He takes the head of Bugs Bunny like a mask. He puts a Bugs Bunny mask on his head, chat. And then he opens the door, and they're like, oh, they're about to kill him. But they see, oh, it's just Bugs Bunny. It's fine. And now Michael Jackson has become. His name is Spike. Correct. His name is Spike. You're not wrong. That's the bunny's name. Thank you for correcting me. The stupid rabbit. He has this bunny mask on. He then walks out, but now he too is claymation. And right before he gets on a bike and he starts pedaling away, but he stops, and then he starts doing that jamona. He starts doing all the jamona chat and all the dance moves. And they're like, hee. And they're like, that's fucking Michael Jackson. Get him. And then he starts riding away on the bike, chat. But then the bicycle, which again, it's a bicycle. It's not a motorbike. But chat, thank God, through the power of movie magic, the bicycle then becomes a motorcycle, chat. And Michael is then being pursued, I assume, throughout the streets of Los Angeles, chat, California, as all these people are trying to take his picture, kill him, I don't know. But all these people are like in this one car that has all these extra seats that are like on like cranes and shit. You see the two fatties there trying to get the picture of Michael, chat. Eventually, through this chase scene through the city of Los Angeles, their car just fucking crashes, and the fatties and all the press and all those other people, they just die in a molten fire. That's what they all die. Michael then escapes to the desert, chat. He then takes off the rabbit costume, but then Spike the rabbit comes alive. He comes alive, and Michael's like, you're my best friend, Spike. And then they start emulating each other's movements. And so Michael starts doing the moonwalk, and then Spike the rabbit starts doing the moonwalk. You know, Michael says, Yamana, and Spike does, Yamana. He does all that shit, and they start doing that, and they just start moonwalking, having a good goddamn time. But the Popo showed up, chat. The Popo, the police have showed up, and as you can see, behind the policeman goes, he literally says, and behind him there's a sign with with a cross in it that says no moonwalking. It literally has that. And Michael's like, but you understand? My friend Spike, he was here. And it's like, doesn't matter. You both get a ticket. He then hands, he's like, where is he then? And he's like, he was just here. You're being ignorant. He was just here. But he's not there, chat. And the police officer hands Michael the ticket. He goes, no. Again, Michael is filthy fucking rich, so he'd be able to afford the ticket, but whatever. For a person who doesn't make as much, that would be a huge detriment to their monthly income, but whatever. The police officer then drives away. Michael looks sad. But then this nearby hill, giant rock, I guess it's a rock formation. It looks like he's in Utah or something. This nearby very large rock formation then becomes the head of Spike the Rabbit. And Spike the Rabbit winks at Michael. He goes, hee, and then he drives away. He's like, that was his friend. After that scene, chat, we then get another music video that is kind of like animated like South Park. It's like if they took cardboard pieces of Michael Jackson and certain things in his life and kind of animate them like slightly. But it looks like this Matt Stone and Trey Parker would like, we would like to be part of Moonwalker. Let us animate this. And we get about a 5 to 7 minute video, music video that is, of Michael Jackson saying, "Leave me alone." Basically, leave me alone. And we get like all these things in the video, like Elizabeth, like, you know, famously he had that shrine to Elizabeth Taylor, who passed away during this period. And he also had he bought the bones of the Elephant Man, and he mentions that in the song, or it's shown in the music video. And basically it's just saying, just like, listen, even though I'm doing all these things, like, you know, it's also talking about how Michael was going to cryogenically freeze himself. It's all the tabloid stuff in his life. And the song is basically about telling all these people, just leave me alone, okay? Let me live my life. I'm not affecting anyone else. I have my weirdness. I have my kinks. I have my eccentricities, but they're not bothering you. So why are you so obsessed with me? So that's what that is. It's this whole tabloid journalism critique that he's talking about, chat. And that goes on for about 5 to 7 minutes. We then transition, chat, to this Gotham City, like, period piece environment. Like, it has, like, this Tim Burton, it's like a combination of Tim Burton architecture and, like, Art Deco architecture from, like, Batman the Animated Series. And we start in the sky, and it pans down, and it's, like, it's basically let's just say it's Gotham City. And we have these various street urchins, chat. We have these 3 children, this little white boy, this little black boy, and this little white girl. And they're looking for Michael Jackson, and they also spot a star in the sky, like a shooting star, and they want to get the star so they can give Michael Jackson their wish, so they can go back to the fun times that they had with Michael Jackson, right? And so they're looking for him in this Tim Burton Gotham City. Also, maybe it's a little bit of Dick Tracy too, because everyone's wearing pinstripe suits like mobsters. And we cut to this the outside of this music shop, like you're selling violins and guitars and like piccolos and shit. Not the DBZ guy, but the actual piccolo. And all these guys get out of this car, and they have these super advanced sci-fi weapons, and they just start shooting at the shop that Michael just walked. He walks out. He has like a suit on. He goes, "Oh," and then all these guys step out of the cars and they start shooting. He goes, "Oh," and they start shooting at him. We then have a flashback to Michael Jackson, what appears to be maybe on Neverland Ranch. I'm not sure. But maybe, let's just say it's a park. It's Michael Jackson. He's like wearing a red sweater and something. And he's with the 3 children who we saw earlier in the movie, the street urchins. And we learned that the little girl is named Katie. And they're just playing and stuff. They have a dog named Skipper. And they're just playing like football and frisbee and tag and hide and seek and things, and it's all in slow motion and it's fun. At one point, the 2 boys, the little white boy and the little black boy, they're doing something, I don't know. But Skipper, the dog, he runs towards the woods, right, on the Neverland Ranch property. And Katie's like, "Michael, we got to go get Skipper back." He's like, "Okay." And so they then, hand in hand, they go to find Skipper in the woods. But as they go deeper into the woods, chat, they go to what looks like a reservoir of some kind, or a dam, maybe a sewage kind of like esque area, where this whole it looks like maybe underneath a bridge or something. And the entire concrete structure in the middle of the woods is completely covered in cobwebs, spider webs, that is. And Skipper, he went into there. And as they're going through there, Michael's like, "This is horrible. This isn't good. This is bad." And they go into there, and they see that the entire thing, there's giant tarantulas everywhere. And then they go to the main door of this concrete structure, and on the door, it's not like a handle. It's not like a doorknob. It's like a touchpad. And the touchpad, there's like a stone spider. And Michael's like, wait a minute. And he touches the spider, chat, and it glows, and it opens the door. Katie and then Michael then, like, where's the dog? How did the dog get? I don't know. They then go inside the structure, and it looks like it's a secret base of some kind, chat. It's a secret base of some kind. And they're on this giant catwalk, and they look down, and there's all this sci-fi equipment down. There's also a shit ton of tarantulas and spiders everywhere, Chet, everywhere. And they look down, and I did not know this. That this character, this actor was in this movie. But they look down, and they see Joe Pesci pretending to be a Japanese man in high heels, talking about how he wants to sell drugs to children across the world. And all he says is like, these fucking kids, I'm telling you right now, these little motherfuckers, I'm going to sell them all the drugs, bugs and drugs, and they're going to know it was me. It was me, Frank DeLeo, D-I-L-E-O. Frank DeLeo's the one that sold them all the drugs. We're going to go to the schools. We're going to go to the playgrounds. We're going to go to the basketball courts. We're going to go to their homes, and they're going to fucking know Frank DeLeo sold them the drugs, bugs and drugs. And they see all of this, and they're like, wow, that's really ignorant. That's ignorant. And he has several Doberman pinchers who like sense like if there's trouble afoot. He's got them. He's got these Gestapo looking like Nazi. I'm like, God, is this a drug dealer or is he a supervillain? He has these guys like dressed as fucking stormtroopers at this point. But Michael is hearing all this. Little Katie's hearing all this. But then Michael spots a spider, a tarantula, crawling towards Katie's hand. And she's just like, ah! She sees the spider and goes, ah! She fucking screeches, as you would. You have a tarantula was crawling on your hand. You would freak out too. I'd freak out. You don't expect the chat. You wouldn't expect that. You'd freak out. But then, apparently, chat, the little girl alarm goes off in the base. Wee woo, wee woo. And Joe Pesci's like, you little blonde fuck, I'm coming for you. Arigato. And I love it, chat, because as I said, he's appropriating Japanese culture because he has this ridiculous, like, fucking, it looks Japanese-esque, like, man bun that he's wearing. He also has these, like, super small sunglasses. Looks like his eyes are damaged, but they're, like, super small. But he looks like an anime character, chat. Like, I can't describe it. And it's funny. My dad's like, oh, no, that's ignorant, no. And they start running. They then start running, chat. But then we cut to present day. And I guess Michael said, fuck you, kids. You got to go into hiding. You can't live in the Neverland Ranch anymore, and I got to open my music shop in Gotham City, so you got to live with the poors now, whatever. We cut to present day where Michael looks like he was getting shot to shit, and then after all the shooting from Joe Pesci's Stormtrooper Gestapo, he then gets out of this car and goes, well, you know it's Joe Pesci, chat, because he has the high heels on. Like, I'm not joking. He has literal fucking high heels on, and he also eats a shit ton of peanuts. Like, this guy, like, there's just a trail. I'm not talking about, like, a couple of peanut shells. No, this guy is just constantly breaking peanuts and just putting them in his mouth and dropping. Like you'll be able to track this guy down very easily, chat. You would know that Joe Pesci was selling drugs to your children because you can just follow the peanut shells back to his weird reservoir, dam, underground spider hangout, chat. You'd find him very easy. And then he then approaches the steps at which Michael was sitting on, but then Michael is gone, but the suit is still there, and so we now have a very naked, possibly very injured Michael Jackson running around the streets of Gotham City, and Joe Pesci's like, where'd the fucking guy go? Go get him! Check every gun! And apparently Joe Pesci controls, I don't know how much time has passed, but I am led to assume that he has ultimate power over this particular city, because there is no other police force in any capacity. He has control over the telecommunication systems in this city. Maybe he rules the world. He certainly has an incredible arsenal of weapons, chat, which we'll find out later on. But he's very mad. In any case, he's like, hunt down Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson is running, and now Gotham City looks like 1940s Germany. Like Michael Jackson's even wearing he's wearing the suit. He's now wearing like this white suit, but it almost looks like he's wearing like a specific armband. Almost looks like it's the Star of David, which, the Nazis had forced them when the Jews were living in the ghettos, of course, chat, and various other people, of course, as well. They had him like wear these armbands, which had the Star of David to say like, oh, that's a Jew. And so Michael Jackson is also wearing an armband as well. So I'm like, okay. But he's still running. He's running away from all these people in 1940s Gotham City, Germany. And he then hides behind this, like, he's in an alleyway hiding behind this pillar. Joe Pesci is still, like, really, really mad about everything. He's like, where the fuck is Michael Jackson? We gotta get that fuck. I gotta sell kids drugs, bugs and drugs. And the kids also have heard the gunshots, and they, too, have come to the scene in which Michael's hiding. And at one point, a shooting star crosses the sky, and the little Katie starts, or I forget if it's the little, I forget which is one of the kids starts praying, and they're going like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I'm just making a wish for Michael. I'm making a wish for Michael so he'll be safe." And then we cut to Michael then going down the alleyway, and Joe Pesci and the guy spot him like, "There's the fuck, get him!" And they go down the alleyway. But yet they start hearing this. They start hearing this motor like revving, and then Joe Pesci starts to panic and goes, "Well, go fucking get him!" He stands behind all of his boys, and then we see that a car come down the alleyway where Michael Jackson was, and it looks like the DeLorean from Back to the Future, chat. And the guy's like, "Oh, that's fucking cool. It's the car from Back to the Future. It's DeLorean." And then it just yeets itself forward, chat, like it has superjet engines, and it runs over some of the Gestapo soldiers, and it just continues down the street. And Joe Pesci's like, "What are you doing, you fucks? Get him!" And they all pile into the various Gestapo vehicles, and they chase after Michael Jackson. After that, the children apparently have been told by Michael to, we don't know why, they just know to go to this certain warehouse within Gotham City. They then go to the warehouse, chat, and it looks like it was like an old club of some kind, speakeasy maybe. But Michael's not there because he's still being pursued by Joe Pesci and the Gestapo, and the Pesci Gestapo, if you will. And they just start playing around. They start playing pool, but then the pool balls start moving on their own. The little girl goes to the piano, but the piano starts playing. They fucking freak out. And they then leave this warehouse / old speakeasy / club, and they then hide outside. Eventually, Michael Jackson does show up, but he doesn't see the kids. The kids don't see him. Michael opens the door, and the entire club looks like it's of the past, chat. So it's filled with people. They're all dressed. Now it's like not 1940s. Now it looks 1920s, especially with the women's fashion. It's very 1920s, chat. Very Art Deco. He walks in, and everyone like fucking's like, "Whoa, it's Michael Jackson." And then we get a music video, which I will say, it's a really cool music video of Smooth Criminal, and he does his whole thing. We're doing Smooth Criminal. The various people in the bar, which it's mostly black people, I would say, in the speakeasy. I don't know if that was speaking as like, to like, well, obviously we know back in the 1920s, people of color were horrifically oppressed and they have to endure racism and everything else. I don't know, because it was mostly filled with black. I guess there's a couple of white people, but it's mostly black. I don't know. I'm reading into a chat. I'm just trying to figure it out. But he does Smooth Criminal, which is a great song. Like, even as someone who's ignorant when it comes to music, that's a great song. But then all of the other people, like the men in the club, start to attack Michael, and he kills all of them. Like literally with Dragon Ball Z powers. Like there's just one guy that tries to like come at Michael with like a pull cue, and Michael just literally goes, Hadouken! He goes, Hadouken, and the guy goes through the fucking wall like, Daffy Duck and some shit. And he continues doing his thing. Everyone's like, "Woo, we love you, Michael," because I guess he killed all the people in there. Or at least all the, the bad guys, I suppose. But then after Michael, and then we get a really weird part of the music video, which I'm like, I don't think this is part of the song, where it stops being Smooth Criminal, and then the color scheme changed. Before it was like a lot of reds, a lot of yellows, a lot of oranges, and it's like, it's a club. But then everything becomes blue-gray, and it's almost like Zack Snyder just said, "Fuck you, it's my movie." It's almost as if Zack Snyder, like, beat the shit out of the director and just put his blue-gray color filter on the camera and just said action. And then Michael Jackson and all of his backup dancers and singers and the extras just start moaning. They go, like that is like, I'm like, I don't, I'm like, what's happening? I don't know what's happening. They do that for about a minute, and then they go back to Smooth Criminal, and they go back to Smooth Criminal. After Smooth Criminal is done, well, actually, no, right before Michael Jackson's about to finish the Smooth Criminal song, we then see the Gestapo show up, but they're like right outside the various windows. They position themselves in such a way where their shadows are in each and every single window, chat. And then Michael Jackson notices it. No one else notices. Michael Jackson notices this, and he then fucking goes, woo! And he fucking does a and he produces a Tommy gun, chat, and begins shooting all the windows, chat, killing all the Gestapo Joe Pesci spider henchmen. And after that, he then hears, oh, that's right. So while this is going on, the Gestapo spider henchmen and Joe Pesci find the children and they capture them. Well, no, they capture the one. They capture Katie, which is Michael Jackson's favorite, chat. After that, Michael Jackson hears them. He goes outside, and he's like, kids, why weren't you in the club? Where were you? And I'm like, Michael, there was no one there. And then there's people there. We don't understand. He's like, where's Katie? What happened to her? And they're like, Joe Pesci fucking kidnapped her. Michael's like, oh, no, that's ignorant. And so then they're like, all right, we got to go to Joe Pesci's base. He has a base, chat, in Gotham City. Michael and the children go to the base. Michael then tells the kids, wait on the ramparts, and then you'll know when I need you. I'll give you the sign. They're like, what's the sign, Michael? And they're like, he's like, you'll know. And he goes in the middle of the base, and then Michael is then surrounded by the various Joe Pesci Gestapo right there. And then they just start beating the shit out of him. They just literally, he tries to hold him off, chat. He starts doing Jamona and all that shit. But then they just start literally beating the shit out of Michael Jackson. And then we hear Joe Pesci going, you motherfucking. Joe Pesci comes out of this like giant tunnel, if you will. It's a huge, big white light behind him. And we see him literally beating the shit out of Katie. Like, I'm not talking about like, oh, he threw her on the, no, he's literally smacking this little girl around. She's like, you motherfucking bitch, you. He's like, I got you, Michael. And the thing is, like it's so funny. Like, I'm swearing as Joe Pesci, but Joe Pesci is not swearing. He always calls like Michael Jackson, you pinhead, you fool, you always like pinhead, you garbage, you piece of garbage, you fool, like all that shit. But you know, calls him a pinhead like multiple times. And Michael sees Joe Pesci beating up Katie, and this causes Michael to go, no, stop it. No, and I don't know if Joe Pesci is supposed to be Jesse Jackson. Maybe. I don't know, because is Katie representative of Michael Jackson's childhood and the way that Jesse Jackson was so abusive towards Michael and the rest of the kids because he wanted fucking money and he didn't want to be an actual fucking father? Maybe. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it. I'm reading into it. But they all stop because Michael Jackson freaks out, and they all start to approach him. He's covering his face like this. And then eventually the guards get up to him. They nudge him. And Michael then drops his hands. And Michael Jackson has these giant yellow glowing eyes. He's like, oh, he's going to become a werewolf like he did in Thriller. No, he becomes a giant fucking robot. He literally becomes a giant transformer, chat, where first he becomes all metallic and everything. And then, like, the parts of his face come undone, like his cheeks pop out, his jaw goes, his eyes pop out and shit, like all these parts of him. And he starts, like, kind of looking at everybody like this, but he's, like, super robotic and everything. He's, like, doing that. And Joey's like, guys, shoot the motherfucker, shoot him, the pinhead, fuck, kill him. And he throws Katie away because he's, like, scared about Michael. And then Michael continues to, he's like Mecha Michael. Oh, it's a great way to put Edgy Berserker. He becomes Mecha Michael, where he increases in size and mass, And he then gets weapons, chat, like his arms become laser cannons, and his shoulders have missile launchers, and his penis is like a laser beam, and he then starts attacking all of Joe Pesci's Gestapo stormtroopers. They start shooting all of the Gestapo, and they all start dying. Joe Pesci's like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. At one point, the Gestapo find the kids, where Katie finds the kids. She gets back to the kids. She's fine. She got a little beat up by Joe Pesci, but she's okay. She's up there, but then the Gestapo followed her, and they're up there, and they're just about to kill the children. Then Michael spots them in his robot form and just goes, ah, and he starts screaming. And the scream apparently is at a specific frequency that it only affects adults, and all of the rest of the Gestapo who are still standing, their heads explode. They all fucking die like scanners, chat. It's very weird. Joe Pesci has disappeared at this point. We don't know where he is. But then Michael, the kids watch as Michael then, like typical Transformers fashion, chat, he's not a robot, but he also becomes a spaceship, becomes a starship, chat, and he starts transforming. He does the waka waka, that Transformers noise. He becomes a robot or a starship robot, and the kids are like, "Oh, where's he going?" And then, chat, they start to hear this very loud sound, and they cut to the other side of the base where these massive fucking doors have opened, and we see this giant Death Star laser cannon come out of it, chat, which is being operated by Joe Pesci. He's like, yeah, Michael, you pinhead jabroni, you, I'm gonna kill you, bugs and drugs. And right before, like, Michael's about to fly away, Joe Pesci shoots the Michael Jackson spaceship, and it then crashes in, over the edge, I don't know, over the side of the base. And the kids are like, no, Michael Jackson, that's ignorant. And Joe Pesci then is like, I did it, I've killed you, Michael. And I'll kill the kids. He's going to kill those kids. And he's positioning the giant, this is a huge fucking, like, laser weapon. He then positions the laser weapon about to shoot the kids. But then, Michael comes up. The spaceship Michael comes up over the base. And he's yeeting himself towards, he's flying towards Joe Pesci. And Joe Pesci, the laser cannon is too slow, so he can't position it to fire at Michael. He goes, oh, Michael, no! And then Michael fires his goddamn torpedoes. His photon torpedoes, chat, and his laser weapon, Star Trek, Star Wars bullshit. He fires all the Star Trek, Star Wars bullshit at Joe Pesci, and the laser gun explodes. Everybody's like, no, bugs and drugs, and Joe Pesci is no more. Joe Pesci is killed. He's destroyed in the explosion, chat. And the kids watch Michael as he kind of like, he's like right over them. And they're all like, what's he doing? And Katie's like, he's saying goodbye. He's leaving. And then Michael then goes off into space, chat. He becomes the star. He becomes the shooting star because his career was the shooting star after he left his father, Jesse Jackson, who is Joe Pesci in the movie. Anyway, he shoots off, and then the kids are still dirty and smelly and poor, and they're walking around Gotham City, and they really wanted to see Michael Jackson again. And then Michael shows up. He comes down as the shooting star, as if, there's more important things than my career. And he presents himself in front of the children in a non-sexual way. He says, children, I'm back. It's me, Michael. And they're like, yay, Michael. And he then walks with them. He then has them all hand in hand. And they then go to another concert. They also find the dog. They also find Skip, or whatever the fuck the dog's name was. Remember the dog, Chad? This all started when they were trying to look for a dog. They find the dog at one point. I don't know how. They find him, and Michael then hugs all the kids and says, I love you. And then he goes on stage, and he then does a cover of the Beatles' Come Together. Come Together. He does that, and then the movie ends. And that's it. That's the movie. And that's my scene by scene by scene by scene breakdown, chef, for Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. This is what happened. It's the first time review that sounds like a story of a second grade ramble out. It's literally what happened. Emily, back me up here. Am I wrong? Worth it. Worth it. There you go. There you go, chat. That was Emily's request. She's a patron. She's a Juicy Game subscriber, chat. She turned her audio video commentary request into a movie request, and I did it. Looks at drink. I need to lay off this stuff. It's like just throw it over your shoulder. Oh my God. I'm not wrong. There you go. Oh my Lord. Stranger Shoe, good to see you. Oh my Lord, chat. Kane, Ryan, Rachel, pleasure to have you. Noise. It was amazing. It's a move. It's a thing. It happened. It was put to film. It was released. It made money. I mean, now again, it's the music video portions are actually quite good. They're well choreographed. They're fun and stuff. The whole Joe Pesci being appropriating Japanese culture and selling drugs to kids, and also apparently creating a Gestapo and a Nazi-esque city in 1940s America of 20 aesthetics is weird. But I never knew what was gonna happen next. I'm like, all right, movie, what are you gonna do next? What are you gonna do? I didn't hate this movie. It's definitely bizarre. I would encourage people to see it just for the weird shit with Joe Pesci. It's like, what the fuck is happening? That's just my favorite section because it's just so. I mean, you can read into it and like it's representative of this, and this in Michael Jackson's life, but it's very amusing. It's very amusing, chat. So I don't know. I guess I give it like a high rental. I guess I give it a high rental, chat. It's fun. Kids deserve drugs too, right? Right. Greasy loins, right. It's weird. But that's what Putin said he was doing too. Maybe you watch it. Maybe you watch it now. Yeah. He's trying to denazify Gotham City. Michael's love the Beatles is having due to come together. And one of the kids is Sean Lennon. Oh, that makes sense. It's John Lennon's son. Okay. Yeah. Hearing Juicy do the Pesci is perfect. Thank you, Edge Berserker. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. There you go, my friends. That was my review for Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. A lot of symbolism in this movie, chat. But now, my friends, I will be going to, I'll then be transitioning to my spoiler review, my scene by scene breakdown, chat, to Yu Yu Hakusho episode 16. I'm just going to get a little water. Chat. I need a little water to wet my whistle.